frame. There we go. This stand is actually quite good I've got for my phone now, because I can plug cables into the phone while it's on the stand, like the microphone. I've not got that plugged in today, the microphone. I've just got it running off the phone's thing, because I want to listen back to this and see how much better it sounds with a microphone plugged in. Although, for doing a stream like this, it'd probably be best if I bought one of those little clip-on microphones. I might see if you can still get those. I'm sure they still do them. So I'd want a USB-C or a Bluetooth little clip-on microphone, wouldn't I? Let's have a look. USB-C clip-on microphone. I'm just now seeing if there's any companies that make them that are actually decent quality companies. Although saying that, I'd probably actually be better with one of these, getting if I was to get one of those. All right, Rich? If I was to get a little clip-on microphone, I'm wondering if it would actually be a better choice just to get one that is powered by the USB-C port on your phone. Oh, my hair's sticking up a bit. I'm afraid that's because I've had headphones on. You can see where the headphone ridge has been there on my head. Yeah, I'll have a look at those when I'm not streaming. But like I said, I think actually if I was doing a stream like this, not one where I'm playing a game, the best thing to do would be, like, what do you call it, to do it via, yeah, like I said, a little clip-on microphone. Assuming I've got the right sort of jacket on. Moaning just yet. The saying started at 11 was the sort of thing I wanted to do. Right, let me just go into live stream control panel on my PC. Annoyingly, because YouTube has a dark interface, even though I like dark mode, it means it's not as good for on here. So if I pause that now, I can just have to hope my shitty internet doesn't crash out while I'm streaming, but as I said, there's not much I can do about that. Again, what annoys me is sometimes YouTube remembers your settings, sometimes it doesn't for these. Your GP5 arrived, that's good. Right, I'm just going to check with the way people can participate. At the moment, I've not got slow mode on, and I've got it set so anybody can chat. But if the chat starts getting spammed with, you know, absolute crap, do a mohawk. That would definitely get in the way of headphones and mohawk. Like I said, that's why I like shaving my hair completely off, because when it's shaved completely off, headphones and absolutely everything don't matter. So I've got my coffee when that gets to a good temperature, and I also put some hydration tablets into my big bottle of water. But as you can see, the only problem with the hydration tablets is sometimes they don't actually stir up very well. Like, you're not meant to, you don't have to stir these, but you do have to sometimes give them a shake a bit, because, you know, the idea is it's meant to be the consistent colour throughout with the strawberry flavoured ones I quite like. Yeah, free colour activated. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to actually turn my aircon off, because that is a bit chilly at the moment, even with this nice 11 Labs jumpery thing on. Yeah, they do all sorts of colours, those. It just depends on the flavour. But yeah, that's strawberry. I've tried the purple ones before, which I think are like, they're not blueberry. I think they're blackcurrant, the purple ones. And they also do them in like a lime lemon sort of thing. But for these sort of things, strawberry is definitely my favourite flavour of those sort of rehydration tablets. I don't think a particular company that does those actually does orange, which is a bit weird, because loads of companies that rehydration tablets do like the orange flavoured ones, you know, to make it the equivalent of orange squash. Oh, that's good. Litter picking, was that like a voluntary thing? But that's good, yeah, because people who throw litter in public places are the scum of the earth. So yeah, that's good, you're litter picking, because, you know, there's nothing worse than when you're in a nice place like a park or whatever, and there's trash everywhere and whatever. So yeah, Soviet officer uniform. Interesting. Depends, I suppose, where you're wearing it. As I said, I've got that East German one behind me, or East German, just sort of, you know, regular uniform, but on the mannequin. But yeah, so this one is weird. So 11 Labs, if you don't know, is one of those AI voice things. And because quite early on, because 11 Labs was good, I paid whatever it was a month. It was like £5 or something a month originally. I think it's gone up a bit since then. You know, where you could do all the voices, where you could like clone David Attenborough's voice and that, because I've used it a few times for YouTube videos. But again, like all these things, paying for a subscription service, I don't use anywhere near enough for, you know, monthly sort of paying for it monthly sort of thing. Because I was an early adopter to their thing. They said, "Oh, you're entitled to a free thing if you want. So pick your size and what you want." And this was the nicest thing they offered. You know, like they did do like just very plain T-shirts as well. But I thought an actual jumpery fleece thing is definitely a lot better value for getting it for free than the other stuff. What country are you in? Germany? But why would East German uniforms be illegal in Germany? Not even a surplus. But I'd have thought. I mean, I'd have thought the other type of German uniform might be a bit illegal in Germany. So what? Both East Germany and the funny painters uniforms are both illegal. Yeah. Like I said, I can get that one a bit more, but a bit weird with Osterkraut stuff being illegal. But yeah, there you go. The DDR stuff on there. Yeah, well, look at Birmingham at the moment, Joshua, where they've had the bin strikes. Apparently, there's like giant rats there now. You know, like rats that people's cats are scared of, kind of things, because you know the rats are grown so big they're like wharf rat-sized rats. That you know, and they're worried that when the bin strike eventually ends and all the rubbish gets collected, they're worried that those rats will then want other sources of food, and then they'll decide to maybe start eating people and pets. Yeah, there's rules like that in the UK though, Ohio Uncle. So like the knives that are legal in the UK for like carrying on you, like the non-locking knives, Swiss Army knife type knives. I was actually thinking about this, right? So the Swiss card, I've got a Swiss card and I've EDC'd this before, but would a Swiss card's letter opener be illegal because it's a fixed blade? Because I was actually thinking about that. So a Swiss card, like I said, I like Swiss cards because they're a bit like a Swiss Army knife, but they're designed to work like a credit card to go in a wallet. But yeah, I was actually wondering, under UK law, would that be illegal to have that on you because it's actually a fixed blade, how you'd hold it, not like a folding knife. I'm on about the UK, because the UK, if it has to be under 3.5 inches, which is a centimeter is 2.5 inches, isn't it? So it'd be basically, it would have to be under about 9 or 10 centimeter the blade. But the point is, you're not allowed to have locking knives and all the stuff like that. And I don't know how this would fit into it, something like this. Lengthwise, it's totally legal. But I imagine you'd have to be a really miserable pig to, you know, pull somebody up on something like that. What was the last time I was stabbed? Well, thankfully, I don't work anymore in the city where I have to worry about that. But when I was in the city, I did actually wear a stab vest on me. Just because of the fact that mostly it was when you were at a bus stop and it was quite late or like very early in the morning, you'd get both belligerent drunks and, you know, like all the drug addicts, the sort of crackhead type people, going around begging for change at the bus stops. And then if you said no to them, or they thought, you know, you're getting out like a wallet full of money potentially to give them some money, they try and grab you and like, you know, rob you. So luckily I never got stabbed at all, but I did after a couple of, you know, encounters with people that got quite belligerent and think, yeah, I ought to be wearing a stab vest because you never know if they're going to pull a needle or like, you know, a knife on you. I'm actually in Berlin this year, funnily enough, only for a day or two, but I am in Berlin. You know, I will be in Berlin, and I must be very careful not to speak like this or do the funny salute because I will be in big trouble with the police. Oh, it's on top chat, not live chat. I need to change that. So Rajiv was saying, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, if you throw stuff like that in the streets, it encourages pests, doesn't it? Yeah, it's like some medieval reacting gone wrong. Snoopy Bogan. Now, I don't know why you brought him up, because nobody else brought him up. He was a person that was on my streams recently. I can actually remember the name. Who was nice and everything, but they were far too young to be on these streams, so I had to block them just because if they sounded like they were about 5 or 6 by the sound of some of the stuff they were saying, and they should not be on streams where we were discussing stuff, you know, like, yeah, it was Pixel Odyssey. It was just somebody that was far too young to be on the streams, because if you actually look at this channel, like with a lot of YouTube stuff, there's like, if you're not in YouTube kids mode, there's like a minimum age to even be on YouTube. And if you're, you know, like obviously so young, you've lied about all the age verification things. Oh, that's annoying. My liquor bag is split open. Oh well, I'll bin this licorice because it's gone off now. That's bloody annoying. Oh well. I had a bag of licorice there, and it was one that, you know, every now and again I had some licorice out of it, but because it was obviously in a cheap plastic bag, the bag itself had split open after a while, so it all, you know, dried out. That's annoying. Yeah, that's East German, like we were saying. It's, although East German ones get used as a stand-in a lot for Nazi stuff, it isn't a funny Germany. No, East German I guess is a funny Germany, but yeah, this isn't too cobwebby. I don't think there's a spy hidden here. It's just about my size, this one. So there we go, we'll put that on. So yeah, if you look at the thing, look, it's because it's East Germany, it's got the like compass and hammer or whatever it is, because it's, you know, commie country. It's but yeah, East Germany doesn't exist anymore, but a lot of films use East German uniforms as stand-in for the like Nazi Germany era ones. You can see in there NVA, National Volks Army, National People's Army. But yeah, like where they changed the badges and that on them, but the actual uniforms, because they're quite similar. For me, it was Tuesday. Yes, Rich. No, like I've just said 5 times, it's not bloody Nazi. It's East German. So it was commies, disgusting communists, not disgusting Nazis. It's very similar thing, but not the same. What, they still have an island? What, as in there's an island that exists that doesn't belong to anyone, because the DDR doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, the symbol is very Masonic, isn't it, on the East German stuff? But yeah, like I said, the East German uniforms I think look quite cool, even if you don't like the ideology behind them. DDR stuff, I think, because it ends up looking like a lot of traditional Germanic uniforms, it has the cool look to it without the stigma of actually belonging to a particular thing. What year? I might have said the year inside. Where it says 57, that's the hat size. So this would be anywhere from like 1960 to 1989, or whenever it was the Berlin Wall fell. But yeah, you will see a lot of films if you look closely, especially ones made after the fall of the Berlin Wall and the fall of East Germany, where East German uniforms are used as stand-in for Nazi uniforms. Because there are certain things, if you look closely at, you can tell. One of the ones with the things is like what the buttons look like on the uniforms, because the East German buttons have a look to them that's different than the like Nazi ones. And again, my stream's probably going to get taken down if I keep saying the word Nazi over and over. It's on the mannequin, yeah. If that's like that's a mannequin there, so it's. Missed that. I have to put that up by standing up there. But yeah, that's on a wrong way around. Yeah, that the mask and all that is on a mannequin. The legs are actually behind it there, look. So I've got East German trousers on it. Don't know how you can see that on the thing. But yeah, the legs, when it was in a different room, that mannequin used to just stand up on its own. Where I've got it in there, because it hasn't got the leg room to stand up, because there's some shelving racks there, I've you know, took the mannequin apart in the middle. Why is what so messy? No, that's not a bazooka, and because of YouTube's policies on firearms and that, I can't. That's a Strela 2. I can't actually pick it up and show you. You can look at it on a regular video. But if you're on about why is all that shit so messy, because it's my big pile of surplus, and I've got other rooms in the house where a lot of the stuff is actually a lot neater. The problem is with this stuff is, again, every time I do a live stream here and somebody says pick something up and then pick something else up, you can never have it tidy, because the stuff always gets dismantled on a live stream. I've done tour videos before, look at my older videos. But yeah, like I said, with this stuff, most of the stuff that ends up being on the top of the pile is the stuff that has been used most recently in videos. Hence why the Avon C50 there and the Riot helmet are at the top of the pile, because they were the most recent things that I had in that Last of Us video. So yeah. So there we go. Do you mean take the mask off the mannequin? I'm not going to do that, because then it's really hard to get it back on properly. Because putting gas masks on mannequins is a lot more difficult than putting them on a person, because of the fact the mannequin is like, the head isn't designed to have a gas mask on it. Oh, so the person joined the Masonic cult, did they? Let's, Joshua, not get into stuff that sounds a bit racially dodgy, shall we, on the stream? I don't think it necessarily means to do that, but let's not get into, on a live stream straight after we talked about Nazi uniforms, talk about if the type of people contribute to filth. Otherwise, YouTube is definitely going to be taking my channel down if we start going, yes, the people are the reason everything is so dirty. The Riot helmet, because it was the thing we were on about just now with stuff from videos being brought up. So yeah, that was when I was mentioning that Last of Us one. But yeah, like I was saying, if you're in the Last of Us type thing, you would want a bloody helmet on, wouldn't you, where somebody can bite your face off. Although, like Hype said in the comments, that there's a gas mask I actually have. There's a gas mask I've got, but I didn't have it handy for the video. And it's one of the combined kind of Riot Cop style gas masks, if you like, where it's got a very big panoramic front bit, but the panoramic lens is made out of pure polycarbonate, like a Riot visor. So the actual, gas mask itself, the front face bit of it is designed to take serious impact. So in a thing like The Last of Us, you could use that instead of a big Riot helmet. We're on about post-apocalyptic stuff, but helmets like Riot helmets are good if you're on a motorbike. Yeah, I don't know. No, if you're in the US, maybe China is just not selling to the US anymore. Polycarbonate is very lightweight, Rajiv. Yeah, polycarbonate is just like one of the really good plastics that's used now for like being a tough plastic. Because Riot shields are made from polycarbonate. Oh, there we go, actually. So yeah, speaking of lightweight, that's polycarbonate, what the Riot shields are made from. Same as the Riot visors. Gas masks normally use polycarbonate as like the face piece or eye pieces now, as opposed to glass or other types of plastic. But yeah, polycarbonate is very, very good at being a lightweight, strong plastic. It's just, there isn't much better than it. Because, yeah, like I said, polycarbonate is, like I said, you can hold it up like that and it's not really going to bother you very much. And again, this is the reason, like I've said before, I prefer round Riot shields to the big rectangle ones, because they're actually quite fast to do blocking actions with. Where do I get nearly all of it? eBay is one of the places, but AliExpress you can get from if you order directly from China. I assume if you're not American, where they like I said, where there's issues now if you're Americans ordering from China. What I really need to do for Rajiv, again, I think it's in a cupboard over there. It's just, I'll have a very quick look now, but I imagine it'll have to be one of those things I look for when I'm not on the stream. Is the that gas mask that's in The Last of Us Part 2, Rajiv. Do I have a wife? No, if I had a wife, I wouldn't be able to have so much cool stuff. Through not to just, this is a bit of a generalization, but a lot of my friends that have got married or are in very long-term relationships now are the ones that have found that they're not allowed to have hobbies anymore. I think the word whipped might be good for it. You know, that's not to say all of them like that. I have got mates where they've got girlfriends where, you know, they're allowed to have their hobbies, the girlfriend's allowed to have their other hobbies, whatever, and they get on really well. But the amount of friends I've got that don't have time to play games anymore, don't have time to do cool shit anymore because my wife wants to do this, you know, or this, and you know. Yeah. Arrow. Arrow from low draw weight bows wouldn't pierce polycarbonate. Very high power crossbows it would. It would also depend on the arrowhead itself. It really depends on when you say the MP5, do you mean the filter from the Polish MP5? If so, if you get the one that is in Ghost thread, yes. It's hard to say because, like I said, when I've done tests like that before on body armor and stuff, there's some videos on my channel of it. It really seems to depend on the arrowhead and the power of the bow. It's, you know, like sometimes you can shoot the same like really high power bow and it will bounce off stuff like that consistently, then a slightly different arrowhead and it will go straight through. But obviously the more powerful the bow, so like a 90-pound bow is pretty powerful. So a 90-pound bow of the right head probably would go through polycarbonate. You probably can't get modern MP4 filters now because nobody uses cheap filter masks anymore. Right, so Pixel Odyssey is putting in racist words, so let's get rid of him. Don't put racist shit in the chat. Bye. Yeah, I'd imagine a bodkin, like a proper bodkin that used to go through chainmail, would go straight through, yeah. Right, what I want to see for Rajiv, if it is handy, it might not be handy at all, but I want to see, because I remember I used to store it in this particular cupboard, if my, what do you call it, gas mask is in here. It probably isn't. No, I've got other shit in there, so it's not in there anymore. But yeah, it's yeah, Roger, I've obviously moved it at some point. I don't know where I've moved it to, my Fushida gas mask. That when I was saying I don't know. We can unblock him, but I think he was doing it on purpose, Rajiv. It was a racist one, and then he started putting the letters out one by one. So again, it's one of those things where you get that a lot when you're streaming, the same kind of I'm going to do the copy and paste racism thing. Like, you know, I'm going to put something and hope you read it out. Riot shields are on eBay, yeah. So you can get riot shields on eBay. Like I said, most of mine are from eBay. If they're like the beat up old police ones, they're from eBay. You can get other riot shields, you know, from places where they sell them new. But obviously the thing is, if you buy a brand new riot shield, there's a chance that with a brand new riot shield or whatever, you know, if you're not buying one from a good company, it's not going to be made that well. Because, you know, like the ones... UK police one, Rajiv, so eBay. If on eBay, I'll find what you have to type in now. Hang on a second. Because sometimes they're very specific on what you have to type in to find them. And I find police shield works better than riot shield, I think was the case. Then there's probably like a surplus option on here as well. You then have to do surplus to get the real sort of second-hand ones. Maybe police riot shield. There's an armadillo tall one currently on eBay. All the others are brand new ones, not actual you know, proper police issued one. There's an actual listing for a real one that's scratched up Rajiv called Vintage Ex-Police Circular Riot Shield. But yeah, most of them at the moment are like the brand new ones. And again, those Chinese brand new ones might be the exact same ones as the UK police buy. I don't know. Is it legal to own what? Anything I've got is completely legal to own, because I wouldn't be dumb enough to buy something that's illegal and then show it off on YouTube. Well, now that Stalker 2's come out and there's a lot more gas masks in the Stalker universe, do you mean like most comfortable one for a Stalker cosplay, or just to do a Stalker cosplay? Because you could get a GP4 or a GP5 to look like a loner quite easily. Puda makes multiple masks, and Hype was saying before that Puda got like massively sued or something by the Chinese government a while ago because their shit wasn't up to standard. So now that they're apparently a lot better, you know, like the stuff that still gets made. But like saying, that particular gas mask that I reviewed that was made by Puda, and I couldn't see any you know, other shit on it, you know, that mask was awful. And like I said, I bought a Chinese what you call it, PAPR unit. But MF11's a different gas mask, isn't it? Hang on. Yeah, the MF11 is a completely different gas mask. What I'm saying is, if you're a company, right, because this has happened in the UK as well before, you can sometimes get government contracts to make stuff or whatever, and you make stuff fine because, you know, it's a design and all you have to do is recreate that design, you know. That sort of stuff is generally fine, even with most companies, because they have to make it to a, like, you know, they're making somebody else's design to a good standard. When stuff goes wrong is a bit like that other gas mask, like I was saying, where you end up getting the thing of a company is deciding to design their own thing and they might not know what they're doing. Because we've had that before, like with UK industry, you know, like Leyland, where Leyland like made engines. Leyland was fine at making engines until they made the Chieftain engine, which was their own design. Yeah, West German jackets are quite nice, especially the Parker ones and that, in terms of pocket layout and that. Yeah, I've seen that one for ages, Rich. Sometimes what you get with some of the trolls as well, and again, I don't know if that guy was a troll or not, but, you know, he should have known better not to do it, is the thing where they start off acting completely normally because they know that they're more likely to get you to say something if they talk like a decent person for, like, you know, 10 minutes or one stream or whatever before they try and get you to do something. Because again, like I said, the ones where they just literally come onto a stream and they say something stupid within the first couple of minutes, that, you know, they always get blocked before. GP7V is all right, but not a good mask. I mean, it would look good for a Stalker cosplay, but I don't think it's a good mask. That's more in the cover of Metro, though, than Stalker. There's some other ones like that, Rich, I've seen as well, where it was on about growing stuff with your knee, where I'm sure if you put that the other way around, you can see what word it is. Who is Parcel Safety? I don't think we get them in the UK, but let me have a look. Parcel Safety. But again, that's exactly what Myra does with... Oh, Parcel Safety UK. I didn't even know these people existed. But yes, there's a Chinese mask that is about £30 on AliExpress that is £110 here. Another one that is £120, which again I think on AliExpress is again like £30 to £40. I like how it says, what's it say, made in the USA? Oh, USA seller. Yeah, even though, yeah, they're reselling Chinese stuff. There's one that looks quite cool, which probably is still a Chinese one. That's $200 or £200, but I don't actually recognize this particular mask. Like, you know, as one from China. Although the face piece does look similar. So, yeah, I'm not recommending anybody buy this mask, but just to put it in the chat so you know what I'm on about. Does somebody recognize this mask? Because I vaguely do recognize this mask, but I can't think what this mask is. Because I'm looking at that, and that does definitely look like a mask I've either reviewed or like looked at before. You know, under whatever proper name it's got, not what they sell it as. Yeah, so it's Chinese, but yeah, do you know what the actual name is? What's that about, an OZK suit or whatever? I didn't see that, but was that another thing they were selling? So they're like Myra, is it, where they sell sort of either Chinese or cheap Eastern European stuff for massively overinflated prices? But let me go on AliExpress and see if I can find that mask, because there is another quite cool mask I've got on order from AliExpress that I hadn't previously seen. But again, it's probably one that I've, like I said, it's probably one where I've just seen it on AliExpress or whatever, where I've been browsing, and then although saying that, there is let me just look through my old videos if I can do that properly still, because there's thank you, I'm so beautiful, man. Good to know. There is one of the ones Hype sent me before that I think has that kind of face piece to it. MF11D maybe. It's not exactly like the MF11D, but it does have a very similar face piece. It's probably the MF11D I'm thinking of, but just with a different panoramic lens. Oh, Chinese NB100, thank you. And then I'll have to try and find it for sale somewhere, but... Oh, there's actually a Reddit thing about this company as well. So yeah, they're the new Myra. Yeah, is parcel safety just Myra, but the Chinese masks instead of check masks? Apparently they rebrand filters as well. Somebody's saying on here. Oh yeah, I'm going to while I'm here, I'll have a look on the gas mask wiki for sort of some of the Chinese masks, because there's some on here I haven't looked at before, like the MF20, the MF22, the MF36, I think. So an MF20 is another S10 looking thing. FMJ08, oh, that's just the one. MF36, no, that's not any of those. I'll go back to the chat in a second. Oh yeah, the FMJ10 is the modern looking one. It's the 1608 series apparently. Yeah. So there you go for the people in the chat. This is the one that they've apparently ripped off. Yeah, the NB100 isn't getting results for me, but looking at this looks exactly like it. But yeah, looking at this, it is a 1608 by look of it. Like one of those 1608s looks exactly like the one in the picture. One of the variants of it. Anyway, I'll go back to the chat. Let's close all those tabs. There we go. I haven't looked at Myra in ages, but like I said, I do know that Myra just resells other people's stuff at a massive markup. We weren't saying the NB100 was bad, if you were following the chat. Oh, hi, uncle. We were saying that the company that Parcel Safety, that hazmat suits and masks brought up, is basically just a company like Myra that does the thing where they get Chinese stuff, say it's then American or whatever, and upsell it for a massive price. Oh, but he's saying that it's also not very good rubber and is very pricey. So yeah, it must be. So it's also a case of, I guess, that could I buy a K3? Is that the Korean one? Not easily. I've very rarely seen Korean masks for sale at all. If that's the Korean one, the K3. I think I did one video on a Korean mask when somebody lent me one, and that's the only time I've ever seen one. As in, you know, where somebody spent loads of money to get one just because they wanted one. I'll have a look, but to be honest, I don't really have the money to keep buying masks at the moment, other than the decently priced masks, you know. As in, I can buy masks now and again, like the AliExpress ones to review that are all right for a low price, but I've just searched K3 gas mask, and there's none coming up, obviously. There's somebody selling one of the masks I've got behind me, but for £193. Or is that the Swiss one? That one. I think that one is actually the Swiss one. No, it's... But no, there's somebody selling masks at a really, really big price markup I've just found that are selling, you know, no, that K3 one isn't turning up for me. Oh well, doesn't matter. It's essentially scamming, yeah. It's like I said, it's where a company buys stuff from a foreign, you know, like thing that's fairly cheap and then massively upmarks them. I think the Soviet masks look cooler. The US masks, like some of the US masks are pretty cool. But again, current US masks are just British Avon masks anyway. The US buys and just makes in the US version of the Avon factory. Yeah, essentially it's drop shipping, but with gas masks, yeah. PMK, the newer PMKs are definitely better now. Is it the PMK4, which is the one I actually like? Hang on. PMK4 gas mask. Yeah, the PMK4 is actually good. I'm pretty sure I've done a video on the PMK4. I think there's another name for that as well, isn't there? Like PMKS or something as well. But the PMK4 is genuinely good. Yeah, no, I've done a video on the PMK4. So yeah, the PMK4 is actually good. It's just that Russian troops don't get them either. Anyway, I'll end the stream fairly soon. Not have I been on 40 minutes. It's just when I'm talking on these, it's you know, it's a lot more taxing on my throat because I'm talking more frequently. You're at the gym, are you, right now, Peach? I'm sat in my fucking chair drinking coffee that's going cold. Yeah, not bad. I'm waiting for Rajiv spotted this yesterday, but I'd already seen it. That apparently 4 p.m. today is the time that they're doing an announcement about the Oblivion remaster / remake, whatever you want to call it. Because yeah, like I said, it's been that weird thing where they were going to basically stealth release the game, I think, and then because it got leaked from them putting the pictures on one of the websites too early or whatever. Yeah, I don't like PMK Freeze or earlier, in all honesty. But yeah, there was a case of that basically it got leaked that the game was coming out. It's already been data mined that, you know, it's on Steam and about 120 gigabytes. So when they put the store page up for it, I don't know how people do that, but they've already figured out it's on Steam, ready to be listed, kind of thing. So yeah, at 4 p.m. today, apparently Bethesda, or the other company that's doing the remake, is actually announcing, you know, all the info on it. Yeah, again, I don't know if I like that or not, because again, to be honest, there shouldn't be sellers like that, full stop. But if it stops people buying actual scalping things, that's quite good, Alexei. But again, it's no, I don't accept masks from random people, I'm afraid. I accept masks from people I've known for ages. But otherwise, no, just because it's a lot of bollocks having to deal with all of the posting back, or giving my address out to people and that sort of stuff. Yeah, you just have to hope it's not second-hand, though, don't you, Croc? Because if it's a second-hand mask, I'd be a bit worried from that. What are these sticky stains all over my mask? When it arrives, I'll do a video on the Chinese PAPR, yes, but it's not come yet. Like I said, I bought it a few days ago. That and a couple of other Chinese masks I'd not seen before. As in, you know, just generic Chinese sort of industrial-looking masks, but I thought they'd be good to do reviews on. One actually looked quite good quality. As in, not saying Chinese masks aren't well made. I'm just saying that one looked, you know, like a new gen of Chinese masks, if you like that. For the PAPR with the mask itself and a hose, I think it was about £80. So PMK3 is better than PMK2. Oh, the head wound mask go higher, but yeah, like I said, I'm not expecting for that price it to be an amazing PAPR. I'm quite interested in what it's actually like, you know, how much airflow it actually does. Gas mask in airsoft is fine if it's a modern mask with like polycarbonate bits that's not going to break when it's hit by BBs. Older masks definitely not, because they're not designed to have like repeated impacts, you know. So there's a lot of masks where the eyepieces will just shatter into broken glass or plastic after a few BB hits. Definitely not a French ARFA. If you saw what happened with mine when that one was falling apart when I went full auto on it with You're on about me replacing those glasses. I'm not replacing my glasses. Oh, actually, I will be replacing these glasses at some point. But why would I be replacing my glasses? Unless you're on about what you're on about the gas mask lenses. You've confused me now. Prepper Shop UK, but they've mostly got, if I remember right, fairly old masks, haven't they? Let's have a look. Gas mask. FM12 for 65 quid. That's actually good. Finish M61's out. I won't bother looking at any of the stuff that's out of stock, because check M10 for 25 quid. Meh. Polish MC1, 12 quid. Everything else is out of stock. So yeah, they've got like 2 different masks in, basically. Oh, you took something else's question, yeah. All right, Saint, I'm afraid I'm off in a minute, Saint. But yeah, so like I said, it's a case of if you got the notification when I first came on, Saint, you could have been here for 45 minutes. But the problem is there's always people popping in partway through the chat, so I can never win with that, because every time I say I'm going off, somebody comes on, then I spend a few more minutes chatting. So wounded soldiers could have a gas mask on to be evacuated. If you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. If somebody gets wounded and there's gas around, you need to be able to put a mask on them. You know, otherwise they'll die for 100% die if there's chemicals around. So the idea is that you can put something on them while you evacuate them, where they can breathe, and you know, that's why it's like a big hood you tie up around the neck. So if they've got like a, you know, like a bit of skull damage or whatever, you're not putting all the pressure on their head. It does have an airtight seal if you tie it hard enough. Yeah, what you can do with some masks is people make the outserts for them that, you know, go in front of the normal lens. I think this might be what you're on about. So you don't even have to replace the original lenses. Like, you know, they're designed to go over the front, and then they're like airsoft lenses for the front of the mask, if that makes sense. The FM12. Yeah, it's got a bit greyish, but the rubber's still good. I think this is one of, yeah, the rubber is still quite supple, look. Still, yeah, I'd only put silicone on, although that's actually dust more than anything, look, because if I put my finger like that, look, part of the rubber looks a lot fresher. So that is just dust, where, because it's inside in the room, dust comes down from the ceiling. Yeah, or you could just use airsoft goggles in front of your mask. Yeah, that would also work. Right, Harry. Well, which particular flashlights? The old, like, what you call them ones? Through night ones. But yeah, I haven't like accepted any flashlights in ages to do videos on, because a lot of the companies want you, you know, like some flashlights I've bought for free, and I've done the through night ones because they didn't need you to do many videos on them. But the problem is some companies do the thing of like, oh, can we sponsor you for a thing, but you have to say it's a really good flashlight. And then I'm like, no, because if I don't think it's a good flashlight, then I'm lying to people. You know, that sort of thing. So yeah, or they're like, oh, you don't have to say it's good, but could you do like 6 individual videos with this flashlight or whatever? And I'm like, no, because that's too time consuming. Right, when I finish the stream, I'm gonna have to tidy some stuff up, because where I've moved stuff around now, some of this stuff is gonna be a bloody tripping hazard until I've, you know, put the stuff back where it was in a minute. Chinese Type 69, is that the one that's like a Soviet PMG? If so, I've got that and I've done a video on it. Oh, just any flashlights in general. Some companies now, just before I go off, do like those old NATO L-shaped lights, but like much more modern ones, you know. So it's not like you have to even upgrade it with an LED light like with the mag lights. There's like companies that make those now where they take not D cells, you know, they're either USB rechargeable, or they take AA's or whatever, or like 18650s, and they're like already built with a really good like bulb in them. So I have to see if I can find any of those. Is the UK a nanny state? Yes, it is, unfortunately, but so are most countries now. In nearly every Western country I can think of, more and more of the people's rights get taken away for the safety of everybody. Safety. Right, anyway, I'm going to have to go now, because like I said, otherwise I'm going to keep getting questions, more and more questions. I'm never going to get off this stream. So, yeah, what was I going to say? There was something, never mind. So yeah, anyway, at 4 p.m, yeah, don't forget to like the streams. Let me look up Type 64 before I forget. And then I really do need to go. The Oblivion stream is 4 p.m. UK time, I think. Oh, the Type 64, that's like their equivalent of that one, isn't it? The MM1. I've got one of those somewhere, like one of the more modern conversions of it, where you can just put your own filters straight on the mask. Because I think at one point a load of the surplus ones got upgraded, didn't they? But yeah, Chinese Type 64 I quite like, because it's like the Chinese kind of equivalent of the MM1, isn't it? In the UK at the moment, it is 10 minutes to 1, so it's 12:51. So yeah, 4 p.m. for the people interested, if they're on time or whatever. It's meant to be on YouTube and some other platforms. Bethesda or whoever's handling the remake are meant to be doing a video saying like when the remake of the not Skyrim, when the Oblivion remake is actually coming out and everything. Because like I said, at the moment it's been data mined, people know it's coming out, and you know, it's pissing people off now. They're not actually announcing when it's really coming out, so people are just non-stop speculating. Or, you know, like there's been people that have asked, and some people get a customer service email back where they're giving more information than other people, kind of thing. So because everybody just wants to play it, I think now they're just doing a live stream to say, yeah, it's coming out, you know, on this day at this price, and, you know, all that sort of stuff. You're in Australia. All right, see you, Harry. It's a terrible Australian accent I just did. Right, see you, Harry. Yeah, right. I've been streaming 51 minutes now anyway, so I did go on quite a bit longer. Right, I'm going to finish my coffee, tidy up some of this stuff I've moved, and then I will be, like I said, waiting till another couple of hours for that live stream to find out from a Chinese person that comes on these streams, hazmat suits, that if you go to one of the border places between North Korea and China, North Korean sweets get sold in Chinese supermarkets on the border, so you can buy a load. Right, anyway, have a good day, everybody, or I'll never get off. So yeah, for the people interested, 4 p.m. UK time, don't know what time it is in other time zones. They're doing the thing about the Oblivion remaster. So, you know, like I said, because I'm quite interested in that, but at the moment, they've not officially said anything. Right, see you all, goodbye, have a good day.